Welcome to the Come Sit Down show. In each episode, we dive deep into heartfelt conversations, so find a cozy spot and come sit down as we talk friendship, family, and faith.
Well, today's episode, we're going to talk about friendship. Ken, Ash, are y'all ready?
You got it.
Ready? I just want to know, Ken, what were you taught about friendship?
Actually, I wasn't taught to be a friend. I was told to be a friend. That's the truth of that story.
Tell me more.
Yeah. I was never given a do's or don'ts or roadmap or anything like that. I was just told, be a friend to, I grew up in the church. So in our faith community, it was a large part of my life. So go be with your friends. So it's almost inferred, but never taught. So I kind of grew up in life putting everybody in the friend pile because I got it so early, just, to be a friend versus being taught how to be a friend. Mm-hmm. And I think that had pluses and minuses, but I was not taught how to be a friend. I was told to go be a friend.
Yeah. Wow. Ash, what were you taught about being a friend?
You know what? I was just sitting here thinking, but I don't ever remember hearing my mom say, go be a friend or be friendly. Mm-hmm. I was an extremely clingy type of child. Mm-hmm. And when I got to preschool, I met my best friend who passed away a couple of years ago. But I met her in preschool when we were 4 years old. And we told each other, we are best friends. We didn't know anything about that. We were challenging each other on the bar. Like back in the day, they had the little bar and you put your knee around it and you flip around. Right. So we were challenging each other like on this bar, and then we missed our bus.
Oh, wow.
Sent us home. So
super. That
was my start of friendship. And then I ran into a hard stop in friendships when I got a little older. Mm-hmm. I think I must have been about 8 years old. And the mean girls that we went to school with, they literally invited me over to the birthday party and but wouldn't play with me. Well, I just remember sitting there on the sofa and the other girls was just playing and they wouldn't let me play. And they just told me no, you can't play. And I just sat there until my mom came and got me, and I was crying and I was like, wow, they were so mean. They were so mean. And sometimes I think did that do something? Mm-hmm. I had two experiences, one really great and one really bad early on.
Yeah.
So, but I don't ever remember hearing someone teach me or tell me to be a friend or how to be a friend. Mm-hmm. So, I had both things.
Yeah. Doris, same question to you. Were you taught to be a friend?
I don't know that I was taught to be a friend. My father had 12 brothers and sisters, and my mom had 8, but I grew up with a lot of cousins.
Okay.
So those were my friends.
Right.
So, and it was a lot of us. But at that time, there were 67 first cousins.
Wow.
So it was just a lot of cousins.
I thought my little 20 was a lot.
So a lot of family reunions and either family dinners and birthday parties. It was all with my cousins. Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting because I think I remember my first friends in 4th grade and 3rd grade because it was always my cousins. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that they were my cousins. So all I knew was having cousins. And it was interesting because we went to church and we did a lot of other stuff. We'll get into a little bit of my family history a little bit later, but I don't remember that until 4th grade, and most of my cousins were boys. So friendship was a little bit different. I didn't necessarily relate to girls because I was well, y'all don't just want to play trucks and go play basketball. Let's play dolls. Were you taking off their heads? I didn't really get into that until probably 4th grade. And then I remember my childhood best friend, Marcy. Hey, Marcy. We were in high school, and I remember I went in high school and it wasn't a lot of diversity in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. So she was the only other Black girl in the class. And she told me, oh, you my best friend. And I was like, oh, okay. She said, no, it's only 2 of us here. You're going to be my friend. And that's how that's going to go. So that's how I got into friendship, which I think was probably harder because just learning to relate older. And then when I moved and did all the things, I was like, so what is this friendship? Y'all will just be like cousins and then go hang out and then don't hang out, but you coming back the next Sunday? So I had to learn different things. And so still learning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And just looking at some of the other questions, like, how did you view friendship then at an early age? What was that like? Like, tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I kind of saw it in a circle type of way
Mm-hmm.
because, especially where I was, it was a lot of girls in school.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of girls, even though my closest siblings were boys. And my brother was 2 years older, then 4 years older. And they wasn't trying to fool with me. My brother is 2 years older than me. He would be like, you can't even walk with us. You either walk up there or you'll walk back there. So it was a lot of boys around.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as girls and friendships, because Daly City it's small, but it's big.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up, you went to preschool with the same group of people. It's like the Charlie Brown pack. And then you went here, then you went here. So it was pretty much the same group until we call them the outsiders. So this was in Daly City, right? So the outsiders was people that actually lived in San Francisco that either couldn't go to school there or got kicked out of school. So I'm going to go to school in Daly City. So then they would come, and then unfortunately, and for real, it was like disruption. Like it was the clicky stuff, and you think you this, and your hair, and you think you that, you think all that stuff that we didn't even deal with growing up. So it was just like this bunch of stuff with girls in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of my story. Yeah. Stick it to
And where were you taught her? Not taught her. How did you view friendship at an early age?
You know what, ladies, before I answer number two, number one is going to need a little bit more relish on hot. I don't have the time to do it today.
Yeah.
But when I think about what were you taught, I'm not a betting woman, but I'm willing to gamble that no one was taught to be a friend. So I would like to unpack that further in another episode. So I just wanted to put that on the floor now. The community is a witness that we're going to have to wrap some more layers around what were you taught, because I'm willing to believe the absence of having a template has influenced how we have shown up or not shown up as friends or in friendships as adults. So I just wanted to put that out. We're going to have to circle back to number one and add some more legs onto that question.
Yeah, and you know what? I bet there is some people, because I can remember my youngest son. I had to teach him some things about being a French. I literally taught him because he was so giving and so open. And I remember even for my brother, that's 2 years older than me, my brother would leave with stuff and come back without it. And my mom would be like, "Where's your stuff?" He'd be like, "Oh, they didn't have one, so I gave it to him. That's my friend." So she had to tell, like, this is how, so there's things I did have to teach him about friendship, what to look out for. So I think that there is quite a few people out there that were taught some things either in the beginning or something happened, because generally he ain't your friend. That ain't your friend. That's not
That's your friend. Or I'm not your little friend.
So let me. So you know what? Let me stand corrected. Although we need to circle back to number one.
Yeah.
I was taught when there was a breach. Then you were taught that's not your friend. Although you still didn't have a template to determine what a friend is, now this person is no longer my friend. Yeah. And you've kind of navigated through life that way.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
Maybe be a what about your friend?
Exactly. So I think I just kind of answered question two. I was taught what was not a friend, or my mom would make comments about, everybody ain't your friend. So when I think about that in my 50s, Mom, what exactly does that mean? And I don't know why I didn't question her, and I don't know why I remember this, but I was 17 when we had that, was having a conversation, and she said that, and I didn't have enough wherewithal to say, okay, so how do I determine, since everybody ain't my friend, how do I determine the people that are not on the ain't list? Like, how would I know? So I wasn't given that piece. So I was taught, like I said, once a breach or a disconnect or we're not speaking anymore or whatever, you go home and tell your mom. And then basically it was kind of this, just chop them off. Now, if it was your cousin, In my family, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. Go make up, call the auntie, you're going over there to spend the night, so on and so forth. So I was taught once something, and like Angie said, she dealt with her youngest son. Once something happened, but there was no template on how do I present as a friend and how I identify friends, which is why I'm so excited about this body of work, because that's exactly, we're even going to have the opportunity to talk about how, and I know this term is so cliche, but just how God happened to be God. I got to blame him that he organically brought us together. And we'll talk about that later. But having no template, but we literally fit together like puzzle pieces that are perfect for each other. So, and again, I'm a blame the father for that.
He did it.
Yeah, he did it because we didn't have A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3.
Well, I think even when there were certain things that you were taught without being taught, like you said, that's not your friend, or like, no, you're not going to be hanging out with them.
Right.
So there were things that you were taught. You may not have realized it, and you may have picked it up, but just like in the instance with your mom, you said that's not your friend. You didn't have the wherewithal to just ask. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, and for me, when Steph was said, like, no, they are my friend. I like them. So I didn't want to have those conversations. Like, oh, no, and with my cousins, it was like, there was never a conversation. There was never a breakup. Because we go on to Thanksgiving dinner or Sunday dinner or somebody's birthday, and you expected to be there.
Correct.
You weren't talking about things that were happening in some of those relationships still. So it wasn't the same type of spirit or time I think that we have now. And then once you have children and you're having your children walk through some things, there were some things that we walked through. There were things for my children that were friends. So we had some racism happen with one of my youngest son, and it was just walking through that with him very gently because it was his best friend. They had been buddies for a long time. Wow. So, and he was just hurting. He was hurting because he didn't know what to do with that. Spike just to walk through that. And that was real. Yeah, very, very real.
And Dries, if I could just share with your son being biracial, that's added as an additional layer with respect to the racism, because the truth is he does have a dual identity. So I hope at some point that you'll speak to that, because he's not the only child. You're not the only mother of biracial children who had to teach your kids how to champion through things.
That's it. Well, and that was a learning lesson for me. So I didn't grow up biracial. And so my children helped me to learn that, and neither did their father. Their father didn't grow up biracial.
But that's interesting. So, they have a lived experience that you'll never have.
Right.
But you were responsible for parenting those children.
Right.
Absolutely.
And learning and hearing. But listen to this, and I'm just sitting here thinking, those things, either good or bad, they built our foundation.
Correct. Yeah.
So today, anything above that circumstance became a foundation. And unfortunately, if that foundation was negative, we built from that foundation.
Correct.
We built each year. It could have been our teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, on. You built from that foundation. That's the beautiful thing about this work, because now, regardless of where you are in that building, we have an opportunity to either excavate it.
There you go.
Burn it by fire. Build on to it. Ask the Lord to build another good foundation, a foundation that he can build off of. Because
that's right.
I believe the breakdown of just communication and what people think they're being a friend. Oh, I'm your friend, I'm your friend, I'm your friend. But the motive and the intent of that friendship was built from whatever foundation they started.
Which, and I'm gonna close, and I'm gonna hush, which goes right back to question number 1. What were you taught? Right? It goes right back into that. But I know we have to get to the next question.
Well, no, I think that's something that we may want to look at, because even now you're still being taught. At least me, with our friendship, I'm still being taught how to be a friend. And it's valuable to me to learn how to be a friend. What does that look like? What do my friends need? It comes with growth. It comes with maturity. It comes with life experiences. So what I was taught as a friend, like you talked about the foundation, I may have had to scrap some of that foundation because it wasn't serving me. Like it wasn't serving me. And I was like, so there was a point in my life, I'm like, I don't like the people I'm around.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be surreal. Like, I don't like the people I'm around. I'm one of the people I'm around. Oh, it's not everybody else. Let's take a look at, what you're drawing, who you are. So that was part of the work too. And
You took my word.
come on with it.
Well, what I was going to say, listen, I'm trying to stay on the first episode, but this is like grits and gravy. This is real good. But you took the word I was literally going to say, just use, because y'all know I'm a daddy's girl, like Rachel Esposito, but I am the daddy's girl.
Be daddy's girl.
And on the other side of his passing and trying to walk through grief, if that's what it looks like, I'm now able, in some instances, to take a step outside of that and saw how you guys served me as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's different from being a friend, being there for your friend, and being a friend. You guys served me.
That's deep.
My greatest loss. My greatest loss. And while I don't take pride, I'm proud to be independent. I was raised two-parent home to be independent. I'm good at it. I'm good. And I tried that with y'all. We're adamant. I'm good. I'm cool. Next thing I know, get your purse. We're going out for tea. So I know what it's like to be served. And that's why one of the words I used to define friendship is benevolence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's above and beyond. That's coloring outside of the lines of, this is the confines of our friendship.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that with tongue in cheek, but friendships can be very surfacey. We're going to dig deep and talk about that.
Yeah.
They can be, which is why when a lot of friendships or connections hit a gap, it's a hard fall off a cliff, because there were no roots.
Right.
Or what you said earlier, what was this built on?
Yeah.
So if the foundation is shaky, one false move, everybody's dead.
Right.
Right. So I just wanted to add that in there. You said servant. I literally was going to say that when you finished that. And we need to talk about servitude in friendships.
Yeah.
In an evil report from the doctor.
Yeah.
A divorce, a betrayal, a termination, a foreclosure. Like there's so many huge ordeals. I remember my mama used to say, keep living.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what I said.
You always say, keep living.
Yeah,
Keep
living.
living.
and you don't know what that means down here.
Yeah.
And even now, I don't laugh internally from a sinister place, but when somebody, oh, I'm good. I ain't never had like, it's okay.
Keep living.
Baby, here's what I can promise you. Life circles the block for everybody.
Yeah.
It shows up unannounced. Hey, girl, hey,
Yeah.
open the door.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't open the door? I'll kick it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't say keep living, but I say, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna turn some corners in this life. If you have the privilege, right? As I continue to dye my hair and keep saying I'm gonna stop dyeing, that aging is a privilege denied to many. So you keep living. Oh no, our friends are good. Ain't nobody ever betrayed me and blah 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 blah. Okay. And I don't wish it on you. I don't wish it on you. But because I'm gonna argue that the majority of us were not taught to be a friend, there are a lot of gaps, which is why you cannot champion through when there's a hiccup or a breach, because you don't know what to do. You just, like our mother said, that ain't your friend. Well, how come? What happened? And I didn't get the checklist on what to look for in a friend. So what exactly did that person do that now you're telling me to fire them when you said to go be a friend to that person? So all of that stuff we grew up with.
We carried it.
Yeah, we carried it through. So I know we're going to get to the last question.
But imagine that though, too. It's the cut them off. And so on both sides. So you cut them off and then there's this gap. This emptiness of like, okay, what does it look like? Anyway. So one of the other questions we had was, how did you, what were you taught? How did you view friendship at an early age? And then what, if you were teaching someone to be a friend right now, what would you say?
And then we talked about you.
Wow.
Loaded question.
Completely loaded. What would I say? I would go back to the foundation.
Yeah.
Because every time something happens, and things have to happen. In life, we have to be tested. Every good thing that has come from the Lord must be tested. right? And then there's going to be temptations. So everyone has to be tempted. So what I would say is you have to have a heart, and a true, not just lip service after God. Because he's the one who's going to formulate that grace in your heart. Because when the fallout happens, if it happens, whatever type, it could be you just hung up on your friend, nothing serious, or it could be a dagger in the back. What's your foundation? What's your little kit that you're going to go run, grab through? Okay, so what is it that we do when this happens? Oh, okay, what we do? We cut them off. Okay, tell her, go cut them off. And you go cut them off because that's all you know. That's your foundation.
Correct.
I would say tear up that foundation. Really sit and think about what was I taught? How was I taught? Just the other day, I was reminded of an action of a family member that I saw all the time. I said, I do the same thing.
Wow.
Wow. Come for the fire for this.
Look at the reflection though. Like, wow.
Yes, because I want to be different. I want to be better. I want to fulfill being the best friend to myself, first of all, that I can be to those whom the Lord loves. Because when I love you and be a friend to you, I'm doing that unto God.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I think for me, similar to Angie, if someone were to ask me, I would take it all the way back down to the stilts and say, how do you define friend? And that's going to show me the gaps and start from there. But it does go back to foundation because whatever lens you look through, your lived experiences, what you've been taught, what you've been told, what was modeled before you, that's what you're going to walk out until you have your own definition and identity of what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
I think for me, I kept thinking of the scripture that said, love thy neighbor as thyself. And so I was always taught with that is the focus on the love thy neighbor. And probably the last 8 or so years, the Lord said, as you love thyself. So what are your roots? What's inside of your heart? What are you portraying? Because what you have inside of you is what you're going to give to others.
Right.
So that's where the digging has happened and taking a look at different things. And like Angie mentioned, an experience. So now I look at things and say, okay, what's inside of my heart? Because that's what I'm serving.
Amen.
That's what I'm giving.
That's beautiful.
Right. And so if I'm seeing something reflected back, it's probably what I'm giving.
Right.
So do I appreciate what I see in the mirror? And if I don't, then it's time let's do some work. Let's do some work. Let's do some real work.
I love that.
So, ladies, it is always so good to see us together. And
Absolutely. This was fun.
So we're going to keep talking about friendship and digging more into this. But oh my gosh, this has been so fun. I love y'all.
Yeah.
I love y'all too. And I just want to go back real quick on, we started off a long time ago. And I think the other day I was like, Teresa, I've been trying to be your friend for a long time.
You did say that the other day. I've been trying to be your friend for a long time. I was like,
and then you said, how do we even meet? You're like, I don't know.
You know, and it's like, I've been trying to be your friend. I said, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she been closed off.
So I love you own it though.
Yeah.
I love you like my bad.
Yeah, but I get it.
It's me.
I get it. Because and see, that's a part of it. Like when you know someone's supposed to be your friend, you'll take the time.
Yeah.
And it's a healthy thing. We're not feeding off of bitter, mad stuff together. Man, I'm mad too. Be like, no, you mad? What you mad about? Come on, let's talk about it. Not I'm mad too. I know such and such did me wrong. For real? Okay, let's go get him. No.
Put him on.
That's how it was. All the way through high school. That's how it was. And I want to close with I was being serviced by a service, paying for a service yesterday. And a young lady said, and just to piggyback on what you said, she said, I'm very intentional to make sure that my heart is pure when I do things, and how the Lord talks about He knows the intent of our hearts. But I just thought that was such a beautiful, tender thing. This was a young woman, under just shy of 30. Just a beautiful thing. And I wish I would have paused to share with her so many lumps and bumps in life she's gonna miss because she already has that heart of exactly.
Yeah.
Let me examine me, scripture. Let the man examine himself.
Yes.
Not go examine me. Examine myself. So it was just so beautiful. We were having a conversation while I was being serviced, and when she said that, I just kind of struck a chord. Like, wow. And just again, it was the intentionality, and really, really closing. And what I'm hearing from you, Ange, is friendships are about investment.
Yeah.